And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 433. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, I am going to be having a conversation with the Death Rattle podcast, aka DJ Renmark, and this is going to be his first appearance on the show. So nice to meet you, man. How are you doing, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, if you guys don't actually know this, because the previous time we tried doing this was essentially yeeted off the internet, like a la Crisis on Infinite Earth style.
Yeah.
We went for like 5 minutes, and basically the internet lord says no. Do it again.
Yeah, we got what was it? What was it? We turned into a contusion or whatever, or what was the what was it from Loki?
I think it was it's like the Halloween series. It was originally envisioned at the final trilogy, all to take place on one night. But come third movie, they had a different idea for how that should go in. Good.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Second one, definitely not good. But I do like the 2018 one. I do enjoy that one. But God,
Halloween 2018, yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, Halloween Kills just made me want to hang myself. That was
that
Lord.
was awful. Yeah,
apparently, yeah. So for
I was gonna say it's roundly accepted as being a terrible film. Kills and Ends both are terrible Halloween films, and
what's crazy is like you could debate if they're actually worse than each other or just as bad as each other. But it still ends up being they're just as bad, or one is slightly worse than the other, but they're still awful. Fucking insane, man.
It's like, would you rather eat like a solid turd or a bowl of diarrhea? Like that's what we're comparing in my opinion.
I tell people this: if you were kidnapped and Jigsaw stripped you butt naked, strapped you to a cold iron chair, and chained you to it, he gives you a choice. I will put this taser towards your balls, or you could watch Halloween Kills on repeat for 24 hours straight, and you can live. You know what? I don't know.
I guess I'm watching Kills. I guess. Here's the thing: like, as bad as Kills and Ends were, I still think the Rob Zombie Halloween is worse. Have you seen that?
The 2007 one, or both of them?
I think it was 07. I almost walked out of the theater from that movie. It was just god awful. Like, it ruins Michael Myers. And so I was like, this is not a Halloween movie. And not only is it not a Halloween movie, but it's terribly written. And that was kind of Rob Zombie's, that was the last straw for me for him. Rob Zombie makes really good Rob Zombie movies, but anything else that he does, Halloween, The Munsters, no, they're awful. And so, Rob Zombie needs to stick to Rob Zombie's own stuff, which in my opinion also isn't like that great anyway. I think The Devil's Rejects is my favorite Rob Zombie movie. And even then it's like, it's fine,
Mm-hmm. Well, so since this is your first appearance on the show, and just in case you make appearances on the show later on down the road in any shape, form, or capacity, that way when people talk about you, you can reference them this episode as far as like your origin story, because everyone has their origin story, and if you do it all on the first appearances, you never have to hear them ever again. And keep in mind, you can also reference these episodes for your origin story too. So, how was your life growing up, actually?
My life growing up was actually really good. I grew up in a typical white Christian family. Mom and dad still together, love each other very much. I have two sisters. No abuse like to speak of. Just a nice American family. And I was into performing arts. I went to a performing arts middle school that you had to audition to get into. And, it was a fantastic school where kids from anywhere from 4th to 8th grade would spend half their day in an arts discipline and the other half of the day in academics. And I actually started out in dance and then transitioned to drama and band. And so that's where I started stage acting, and I was a percussionist in the band. Ended up graduating from that school, going to high school where it was in, I'm originally from Ohio. And so it's just in, BFE, Ohio, but that school was very involved in the arts. And so I was part of the junior thespian program there, and was in the marching band and the jazz band. And then I don't know, like my family and home life were very kind of typical American, nuclear family kind of growing up. And at some point, I don't know what happened. I just decided, like, I'm the black sheep of this family, and I'm gonna just not do what's expected of me. and so here I am.
So moving to that point, are you married? Do you have kids or anything?
No, I am single, and not married, no kids. Just
Okay.
kind of doing my thing. I'm a filmmaker and a podcast. I do podcasting, YouTube stuff, and I'm just in the entertainment biz. Me and my partner run a uh horror film festival.
Really?
That
Okay.
we're Yep. Well, it's our first year, and it's taking place in March this year. I live in Jacksonville, Florida now, and so that's
Okay,
it.
so you're a Jaguars fan, actually.
They are my adopted team. I got a Cleveland shirt on though. I am a Browns fan at heart. So I
Oh
am a Browns fan at
gosh.
heart. I know. Yeah, brother.
Talk about
But
pain, suffering, and just knowing every year you essentially get bent over a table and
yeah,
you just can't
yeah,
get no lube.
yeah.
Good
Yeah, well,
lord.
I mean, and it's just what's the most disappointing, especially last season, is that our defense, with the Browns defense was just completely lights out. Myles Garrett is just a monster of a player.
Mhm.
And the fact that our offense is just legendarily bad just really dragged that defense down. And so they fired the head coach and a lot of the coordinators, and
I
completely
remember they
got a
did it
new
all like
coaching
at the
staff.
last. They did it all very like the end of the regular season too, where it's so much worse. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that shit's crazy,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking
But the Jags, yeah, my adopted team. And I love them. Go Jags, Duval.
it's crazy because like teams that I've seen throughout my life watching the NFL, as much as I can, the Raiders have always sucked too. You know, they've just kind of
Yes.
always been bad. Like the
But they've
last
been to
time
the
I heard
Super
they were.
Bowl.
That's true. That's true. At least, oh God, hey, at least you're not a Bills fan where you have to rely on Josh Allen every year to
Yeah.
secure you in the
Yeah.
finals. Good lord,
Yeah.
man! On Twitter when they posted they lost, woo! You guys don't go in the do not go in the comment section. That shit's a jungle. That
Yeah.
shit is wild. Good lord. So, how did you get into like you say content creation? Were you inspired by someone actually?
No, so when I got into content creation, when I started doing my YouTube channel Horror Sucks, and then ultimately the Death Rattle podcast, I back in 2020 during, COVID, I was sitting around like, well, might as well try it. And so me and my buddy made a YouTube channel, and we started reviewing horror movies and metal music. Because that's what we both love. We both love horror and metal. And so we were doing that for a while, and then he had to stop because he had life stuff happen. So I kept it going for a little bit, and then I stopped because I was making movies and doing stuff like that, and I was moving from one state to another. And then I watched a movie. This is back in 2022. I watched a movie that came out called Saltburn. Have you heard of it?
I never heard of
And
that at all.
Oh yeah, so I watched Saltburn, and that movie pissed me off so much it reignited my. I have to get online, and I need to tell the truth about this terrible movie because it was getting such good press, and when I watched it, I was offended at how bad it was, and so I got on and I started. I got on the old YouTube channel, which was called Breakdowns and Body Bags, which now is called Horror Sucks, which is, an ironic name since I'm part of that group of people where if I critique your favorite horror movie, the first thing out of people's mouths is, well, you just hate everything. And so I'm kind of riffing on that and just being like, okay, fine, horror sucks. But it's also a riff off of the old Metal Sucks magazine. So I'm just taking that and there's not an original bone in my body. I just steal from other people.
Well, now what I noticed is like if you have a certain take about something, even if you've had it your whole life, but you weren't a content creator or an influencer to say these things to people, they automatically think it's just rage baiting. And I'm sitting here going like, guys, not everything is rage baiting. Not everyone is saying something about a movie or a TV show or an anime to make you angry. Also, you guys understand how narcissistic and insecure that makes you? If you think someone saying something you disagree with on a movie you like is to antagonize you specifically, that that they don't say this anymore. That makes you a self-centered prick. We used to say it back in the day. That makes you self-centered when you think the entire world revolves around you. Like that's that word. I know everyone has their pet peeves with certain words these days. I can't stand when people say rage baiting. I think it's so unbelievably stupid of a fucking thing. So like, you can't even engage in logical discussion without somewhat believing that this person is just trying to bait you intentionally. Keep in mind, there might be maybe I don't know, I'm not in people's minds, but to automatically dismiss something you don't agree with as rage baiting is just, how intellectually stupid you're going to be in life if you actually believe that. That's why younger people can't advance anymore, grow. I see it around my area too. Everything to these people is rage baiting. They don't even engage. It's like, I'm not going to engage in conversation. How do you get better at being a person then? How do you get better at understanding perspectives? How do you get a better understanding of how this person feels versus yourself? And how do you have honest conversation? It's like, whew, going down a dark path in these.
Well, I mean, it's because people, for whatever reason, people like to attach their worth to things that they like. And so if somebody comes out and says this movie's bad and you like that movie, it skips the like they apply the transitive property of, well, I like that movie, so therefore they don't like me, and so I have to take it personally. And it's like, all right, like there's plenty of people that have trashed my favorite movies that don't like movies I like, and it's like it doesn't affect me at all because like it's not my movie. Two, I know why I like it and I can usually defend it. But I also know when I like bad movies, and I am fine saying that, this movie is not of a very good quality, but I still enjoy it or I still like it because of XYZ. It's those people that think that because they like a movie, therefore it's good, that they also have a problem, because it's like, that's not what that means. You can like a movie. That doesn't mean it's good. Or you can dislike a movie. That doesn't mean it's bad. And so, that's
you could also like a movie that you think is good, but it is bad. But then also in your brain go, you know what? It's not actually that good. I just really like it a lot. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious movies is so weird how people criticize them all the time. They have this thing for them that people know going in, a Fast and Furious movie is not actually going to be written well. But the most common person will say to you, you know what? It's written kind of, it's like not the best, but I enjoy it. That's all you got to, once you establish that in your brain, people will have better conversations, because at least going in, it's one of those movies where, it's not meant to win Oscars or Academy Awards. And I to be honest, not every movie is going to be in that running anyway. Like I think awards are fucking sham, like a scam anyway, like there's always going to be B minus C movie quality movies. Now, are some of them underrated gems? Are some of them actually written very well? Do we not get the premise for some of them? True. But, if we're going off like the basic action movie, these things aren't written very well. But it's one of those things where, why can't a person simultaneously admit one thing while also admitting another thing? But for them, like you said, it's like they parasocially attach themselves to these movies and directors and writers and producers. Now it's like, you do know these people in Hollywood, guys, I'm not trying to be mean here. Actually, I am that guy. Fuck you. If you died right now, literally, if you fucking croaked, they wouldn't give a flying fuck about you.
Well, they wouldn't
you
even
will
know.
Go out there on social media and defend them like, I don't know, some knight did in the Roman Empire against the king.
White knight, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cringe when you guys do that. I just don't get it. Not me, you know?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's, it's one of those things where, like I said, people just attach their own value to things that they like, and for
Mhm.
whatever reason, they just take it personally when you don't like the movies that they do, and they'll defend it to the death because it's their identity, and so it's like the movie has to be good, or else, they are not good, and it's
Their
like
entire world is gonna shatter when they
yeah,
figure that
I don't know
out.
how you
Yeah.
get there. One of my most controversial videos on YouTube is my critique of Alien, or not Alien, Predator, the animated Predator movie. I forget, it's not Badlands, that's the other one, which was
Oh,
also
it was the one they
crap,
were
but
doing the
the
anthology in. It was the
yeah,
anthology one they
it's
made.
Predator. I can't remember. Anyway, that movie was terrible, and so I made a video about it explaining why it's bad, what's wrong with the story, what's wrong with the characters, and people lost their shit in my comments. Like, that was one of the most active videos that I had ever, because they needed that movie to be good, and it wasn't, and it was so much, like, there was so much going on that video that I made a second one breaking down the first character, Ursa, the Viking woman, and why she's a terrible character, and why that section makes no sense, and then the
Predator
follow-up.
Killer of Killers. That's the one you
That's
were
it,
looking
Killer
for.
Killers, thank you, yep, very good, yeah, Killer Killers, that's what it is.
Good lord, man. Like, I also think it's oh my god. I think good lord. What is another movie? Oh, Spider-Man has this a lot too. Because Spider-Man is so beloved by a bunch of nerds who will never get women in general. Like, guys, no offense. I mean this actually offensively. The reason why you live vicariously through Peter Parker being the underdog getting Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy or Black Cat is because you will never achieve that in real life. That's why people hold these things to the higher degree, because for some reason they live through these things. It's like a video game. You know, people talk about Grand Theft Auto. They go like, you know what? I can drive nice cars. I can live on a yacht. Yeah, you know why you like that? Because you will never have that in real life. That's why you also really like doing it. So when yesterday someone says on Twitter, there's no such thing as a bad Spider-Man movie. And I was, you know what, guys, you know what flawed logic that is? Okay, I'll just
Yeah, I'm
break
not
it
sure
down.
about that.
I'll break it down like this, okay? If I were to ask you, because not the you could even count the Into the Spider-Verse ones too, even those. Even if you were to rank them in your brain, it doesn't matter how you rank them. The point I'm trying to get at to you guys is you're gonna have some that are better than others. So when you have a statement that says there's no bad Spider-Man movies, you're keep in mind, guys, when if I told you to rank these, you would have some ranked lower than others. That means by your own admission, you would agree that some are worse than others. So this notion that there's no bad movies in a franchise, no, if I asked you to rank 5 of them right now and just say the rest you would not consider as good. Gee, I wonder why. It's almost like there are good and bad movies for a franchise, even if you disagree on which ones are good or bad. You know, Halloween has that a lot with a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it all comes down to the whole, like, subjectivity of art. And I don't really like using that term anymore. I think there are objective qualities to art. I think people's opinion of art is subjective. And so because of that, they extrapolate it into, art, quality of art is subjective. And one of the ways, like, there's only one, and I don't know how many you need. I don't know how many, like, identifiers you need in order to say that, that something is objectively that there's an objective quality to it. But what I've noticed is that good art lasts through time. And so so for example, Shakespeare, a lot of classical music, a lot of paintings and visual art that were created, back in, like, the Middle Ages and even before that, that still persists today, and affect audiences one way or the other and move people and make people think and feel. I think those are objectively good pieces of art. I don't know what the next, I guess, layer of that is, but a lot of people, it comes down to this whole, like, postmodernist definition of, nothing is true, everything is,
Yeah, there's no yeah, it's like I think that comes with people nowadays because I know people back in the day had their problems. I agree, guys. There's a lot of problems and a lot of good, but it feels like nowadays when it comes to some of like the newer people coming to these franchises, like they discover for the first time, and apparently if they discover it for the first time, that means automatically that's everyone's experience too, which is the most weirdest thing ever. Apparently, things just can't have defined definitions anymore. Everything is subjective, and it's like, well, guys, everything is not subjective. There's a reason why there's definitions. Okay, that there's specific reasons why there's definitions because not
Right.
everything is subjective. Now, if you're talking about something like art and movies, there is I would say barometers to like this stuff. The points that I feel like I can get people to understand is when you're going into something like this stuff, if you can point out three things you did not like and someone else did like, or vice versa, then these things, guys, aren't technically subjective because sometimes what I've pointed out I didn't like, someone else is going to point out what they didn't like. And it's very similar, but your mindset and conclusions come differently, right? So I find it weird when people say these kind of things because it comes with the territory now that essentially everything has to be toxically positive or you're just some weird rage baiter just trying to get attention. And it's like, so
Yeah.
can nothing ever grow? If you only just want someone to suck you off, I don't know, go have that. But people who do that, if film and movies were all dependent on people who just sucked each other off, nothing would get better. Movies would never get critically panned if everyone just had that mindset. That's the reason why things can't improve because for some reason, if you'd say to someone that I don't like the movie you just watched, for some reason, like you said, that person's brain, entire reality shuts down. And it's like, you do know these are movies, right? These aren't real. These aren't really things happening, right? This never happened, right? And
Yeah.
that's a problem now. People are too attached, and you need to understand this is what I did a long time ago. You separate it. This is not real. This is a movie. This is entertainment. You judge it off all those things. It doesn't have any holistic value to your life. It's just a thing that you're supposed to just watch to escape, you know?
Right. Well, and it also comes down to, if like the point that you were saying about things getting better, and the ability to get better, you need to have critique when it comes to that. Like, did you like if there's no critique, then like everything's perfect, and like, well, then if everything's perfect, then nothing is, right? So it's the old Incredibles line, if everyone's super, no one is. And so if you take your art seriously, you constantly want to improve. You constantly want to get better. And that means that you need to be critiqued somewhere. Well, I think this could be better because X, Y, or Z, or this could be improved here or there. This was not good because of this. That's not a personal attack. It's a way for you to look at that, measure it, and go, yeah, could I improve there? Like, did I do the best I could here, or could I have gotten better, or is there a different technique that I could have used to get better? A lot goes into making art. I'm a filmmaker. There's a lot that goes into it. That you do pour yourself into a lot of your projects if you care about them. You pour yourself into those projects, and it can hurt sometimes. And somebody goes, "That's trash." You're just like, man, it is. And if you can handle, like, if you can ask why is this trash? What, if it's actually this bad, if you don't like my movie or you don't like my art, what about it do you think could have been better? And then if they are just like a hater or are just rage baiting you, you'll be able to tell because they won't be able to back it up. But if they actually care about it, they'll be able to give reasons why it's bad or what about it can improve, And so it's just kind of like it's that delicate dance there. But yeah, like you said, if people just don't want to engage, then you're going to get movies like we get today, which are just like dog water most of the time. Like, we are blessed every time we have something that comes out that's actually good, because the majority of stuff coming out today, especially out of Hollywood and major studios, it's just all garbage because, like you said, everybody in Hollywood is just sucking each other off, telling each other how great they are, and writing things for themselves. And so that's why you're going to get the Star Trek Discoveries and the Star Trek Academies. I know I just said 2 Star Treks because I'm kind of a Trekkie, and like what's happened to Star Trek is just like, it's so depressing. But you get that Star Wars, Marvel, like all of our favorite properties, like, and in the horror realm, they just
or
came out
like
with
you
a
said,
remake.
Or like you said, everything becomes a monolith with people. Like apparently in an
Yeah.
entire franchise, there can't be a single bad movie. What do you mean in an entire franchise of like more than 13 movies, there can't be a bad one? What are you saying when it comes to these things? Like it's I
Yeah.
just don't get it. Like, how do you even come to this mindset? Either nothing is the worst. Okay, so how do we kind of navigate what is the best though? Because if we don't know what is the best, how can we judge the worst and vice versa? It's like
Right.
how are things able to get better when the mindsets have to be an entire blanket of this, or it has to be no, we must out people. We must straight up oust people who have critiques for our overlords. And it's like, you guys know you're just useful idiots, right? All these
Yeah.
people that are straight up sucking these directors and producers off to get them on
Stop
their
making fun of
website.
the stop making fun of the billion-dollar corporation. Like it's
Yeah,
that
it's
meme.
like people like hey, I read these people's articles for videos, but I find it so disgustingly cringe that these publications out there will, like you said before, suck off these directors and producers and writers just to get them on their website for guys checks notes. 5 minutes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
worth your soul of saying something might be bad and you think it's good, or the other way around. Really, that's your I must get Dan Trachtenberg on my show, I must pray every day on my website. Thank you, Dan. New movie coming out. Oh, did you know I love praise? Like, yeah, I know. You said it 1,000 times. Five
Yeah.
minutes. That's worth you guys' soul to get a director on. And keep in
Yeah.
mind, when they have them on their podcast, which is like 5 minutes, that's not a podcast, it's a basic video. These people are some of the most charisma vacuum people ever. They'll sit on a podcast and go, hey, how did you get into filmmaking? Oh, no, I watched Jaws. Bro, these
Yeah.
are the people bro, these are the people that you're trying to suck off. Someone who can't even formulate a sentence and thought to you. Oh, what's your favorite movie? Uh, Jurassic Park. Fuck, man. All right. Fuck, are we doing here? What are we doing? Do we have no
Yeah.
standards in life
It's
anymore?
not, it's not, and it's not to say that having their favorite movie be Jurassic Park is bad. It's just like,
Oh,
well,
not to be
why?
good. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why is Jurassic Park your favorite movie? Why is Jaws? Why did Jaws inspire you to get into, into filmmaking? What about Steven Spielberg do you like? Or do you just like it because that's the popular thing to like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, I get a lot of flack because, especially in the horror world, one, I didn't see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is like, the staple of horror, until like 2020. So, and I've been watching horror since I was 16, and I just never watched that film. I never got around to watching the Texas Chainsaw until 2020. And it's not a very good movie. And people just lose their mind. They say it's a shit take. They say, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no taste or whatever. And it's like, look, man, what I can say about Texas Chainsaw is that it was a revolutionary film that changed the genre because nobody had done shock horror like that. Movie came out in 1973, I think. Don't quote me, but it was in the 70s, and nobody had done something like that before. Which is iconic. Leatherface is iconic. All of that, a lot of those shots are iconic, but the story and the characters and the plot of that film don't exist. These are not characters. I remember I started calling the one girl Nipples because that's all I could remember from her. I couldn't remember her name. I couldn't remember anything about her other than the shirts that she was wearing, like, just showed off her nipples. And so I was like, well, that's her name now. And then even one of the other characters is called Wheels. Like, that's his actual name in the movie. And
Remember
so it's so,
the back shot of that hot girl? I forgot her name. It's the shot where you just see her back and her ass.
yeah.
Or
Yeah. And then Leatherface comes out and grabs her.
oh,
That
you
one.
have I will say the movie did produce one of those legendary internet memes before it was ever considered a meme. So, and what's the meme? Some say Leatherface is still throwing the fucking chainsaw.
Oh yeah. Because
Yeah,
he's doing that little like dance thing at the end or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, it
That's an
was like
odd movie though. Like
it
it's
is
such a
odd.
weird movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but so and that's always been my opinion because people have been making movies long before Texas Chainsaw, and there was a storytelling format for film. It's visual storytelling, and this movie, Texas Chainsaw, didn't do it well. It did it. It just didn't do it well, and so But people just, it's like I'm not allowed to critique that movie because it's Texas Chainsaw. It revolutionized the genre. It was, all of it. It's like, fine, great. I understand that. That's okay, fine. If you want to say that about the film, okay. It's still, in terms of quality, storytelling quality, characterization, plot, like all of that stuff, not awesome. There are better movies that came out around the same time. You know what I mean? Like The Exorcist came out around the same time. One of the greatest movies ever made, and arguably one of the best horror movies ever made. They did it, but you know what I mean? Like some people do critique that film and you can still do it, but like Texas Chainsaw could have paid a little more care in their writing, to I just make a better film, I guess. I don't know, but you can argue left and right, but that's just one of the things that that's one of the,
I said the same thing about the I know people don't like this. I think there's genuinely only one good. And good is a stretch word. I think there's only one moderately entertaining Friday the 13th movie that I actually enjoyed, and that's the one that Michael Bay produced in 2009. That's
yes, the remake. It's my favorite.
That's the only Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's the only Friday the 13th movie I go, you know what? I can see the vision behind this one. I can see why it was made this way. The others, I honestly don't know what the obsession with Friday the 13th is. I honestly don't get it. I've seen some of them. I don't get it. I literally don't get the obsession. I mean, it's fine if people like them. If they did great things for your life, all that stuff is fine.
Yeah.
I personally think that, like, I don't know, Scream is better. I think there's way more better Halloween movies than I don't like. Which Friday the 13th movie would someone say is objectively, like, if you step back and go outside of what we said earlier, outside if you go, you know what, it's probably bad, I just enjoy it. Outside of that, which one would you say is really good? Even the one that I like is not even considered really good. That's just one that I consider entertaining.
Yeah. The 2009 remake is my favorite. I think they did Jason the best in that one. I'd probably have to say Friday the 13th Part 3 is probably, like, I would say a good movie. But yeah, I mean, they're all not awesome. But Jason Voorhees is the same thing with Texas Chainsaw. Jason Voorhees is just such an iconic character. That hockey mask is such an iconic look. And, the brutality of the kills in that movie are, again, things that have not been done before. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. I always do this when I'm on podcasts. I always forget people's names. But he's a special effects makeup master. Everybody knows him. He's been in everything. Have you seen he's Sex Machine in From Dusk Till Dawn?
I'm pretty sure I know, older white guy.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name. Yeah.
But he was, he worked on Friday the 13th and did a lot of the special effects makeup there. And that's where he that's where he made his bone.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You just cut off for a second there. I was like, "Oh, did he leave me like my dad again?" Oh, you're good. You're good. So I think another thing that comes with horror movies, and this has been a narrative in horror movies for a long time, is like I think people misconstrue entertainment and shock value and just having a good time for something maybe being written well, when people have to understand those aren't mutually exclusive, though. Like, even in horror movie franchises that I don't personally care for as much as other people, and a lot of horror franchises, just horror movies in general, I do feel like, even if you wouldn't say they're not written the best, I feel like the best ones are the ones that are being entertaining, the ones that are playing it up for the audience, doing the most crazy, outlandish shit. I feel like that's where they thrive. I do feel like having some that are written very well, those are going to be always few and far between. Like, guys, Child's Play, that's an example of that. After, like, the first two, I don't know what they were trying to do. They just went, you know what? Comedy's meta now. What?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where horror movies thrive. I like when horror movies are playing it up for the audience and having a good time. And it's crazy that this guy is chasing 5 white girls, even though they probably could just jump him and attack him too. But I don't know why people confuse, like, being entertained like that for something being written very well. I don't know why it has to be both. Why can't it just be like, oh, it excels at these components, but it's not good at these components? But apparently it has to be in everyone's mind. No, it just has to be both. They just both have to be there. Otherwise it can't work. And it's like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, well, horror really kind of toes that. Horror is a spectrum. Like you have a wide berth of where horror kind of lives. You have your grindhouse exploitation horror here, and then you have your what people have been dubbing elevated horror, which I don't necessarily agree with that term, but it's more the story driven horror. It's more substance instead of spectacle, whereas this is more spectacle instead of substance. And you have movies all in between that you have movies all in between that spectrum there. And I love them all. But yeah, like you said, you have to be able to go, okay, look, this movie is not supposed to be this. Where I differ is I enjoy story and character and plot more than I enjoy the spectacle, which is why I don't like the Terrifier movies at all. So I think that I think you can, but I think you can have as much spectacle as you want and still write a good story. I don't think you have to. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. Like you said. And so I always kind of focus on that a little bit more than anything else. Because if I was just about spectacle, then yeah, I mean, like give me the most on-screen action that I can see, and I'm going to love your movie.
But I think there's a place for all of it. I think if a horror movie director goes, you know what, I just kind of want things to be, what's that old saying growing up? Simplicity at its finest. I think if someone wants to be simple with their story and have a simple way of going about it, I feel like all approaches are fine. That's my point of view. I think all approaches are fine, but when people start going, you know what, they have to be everything, it's like, well, then we're not going to be able to understand what's different about the other movies. So if everything is the same in the way they approach it, it's like, well, guess we all must start watching, like, I don't know, fucking Lego Batman movies then. Guess we're just going to those.
Hey, man. Hey, Lego Batman is good.
You got a point there.
They're good movies. And the first Lego movie I thought was great. I was laughing my ass off at that movie. I thought it was great, but yeah, I mean, look, there's different ways to tell stories, but that doesn't like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like we can go back and forth on this, but yeah, just if you have a good story, you're going to have a good movie, and then you can pepper in all this other stuff,
and I also agree with you on the other thing, where just because you are going for a lot of spectacle doesn't mean you have to have the most utterly shitty written characters who ever exists. Like you have to. I would like to assume that. Hey, I have this, but this is what I excel at. But that doesn't mean you just kind of shit the bed on everything else. And that's the problem with Hollywood. It's not. We're now at this point where I think they value spectacle too much. I feel like a lot of these guys are valuing aura farming and hype moments over like quality storytelling. Like most movies that I've watched in the last 5 years, you have to genuinely ask me what I remember about them. And I'll tell you what I remember about them, but you have to hey man, you remember that movie? It's like, oh fuck, I did watch that. I recently watched Sam Raimi's newest movie, Send Help, in the theaters.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I gotta see it.
Yeah. The other what was that horror movie I watched? Oh my god, Trap. That was horrible. That was so bad. M. Night Shyamalan, I don't know if he was going for spectacle or characters, because he sure failed at both. It fails at being a spectacle, and it sure fails at being a storytelling. But that movie's horrible. Holy crap.
It's not good. I didn't end up watching it because M. Night Shyamalan, I saw Old in the theater, and when I left that movie, I was like, all right, I think I'm done with Shyamalan. Like, I think I'm done. I don't think I'm going to watch another one. Like, it's just...
He got me with the trailer. The trailers did look really interesting for Trap. And when I went and watched it, I was like, wow, the twist makes this movie absolutely terrible. I think being known for twists is such a hit or miss thing, because if the twist is really good, like, I don't know, the first Saw movie with James Wan when he did that one, then it's going to be remembered. It's like, oh my God, you revolutionized twists. If it's the twist he had in... Yeah, if there's a twist in fucking Trap the way it was presented... this is awful. This is stupid. Logically, this makes no sense, because this pretty much foundationally ruins the whole movie. Like, why would you write something like this? You know, so that's the problem. Is I think spectacle they're valuing way too much now, and they're just completely. I don't know who they're hiring for most of these movies to write them. They're just so beyond forgettable. Like you talking about earlier, when it comes to even bad movies back in the day, at least there was a charm about them. Like you go, you know what? In this moment, I can tell they really tried on this one.
Yeah.
You don't really have that these days. Like sometimes in movies, there's just like, all right, or the worst part about movies these days, like you watch them and you go, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, because
nothing in
they're
your
not
brain.
yeah, because they're not hiring the best, and they
Mhm.
and the reason is because they have a quota to fill. You know, if you've been watching, if you've been paying attention for longer than a cup of coffee,
Mhm.
there's there is a quota and there is a checklist of people that have to work on movies, and so that's all they care about. They don't care about the skill, and the people that they are hiring haven't lived life and they haven't done anything. They've only existed in LA. And so the only stories that they know how to tell are what they see in LA in their groups that they're in, and that's it. And it just becomes apparent over and over again. These people have not lived lives. And I'm not saying you have to go off, like I'm not saying that you have to like join the military and go fight in a war in order to write a battle scene or in order to write, a war story or anything like that. I'm not saying that. What I
Mhm.
am saying though is that you need to experience life. And if you can't, like, you need to leave where you grew up for a little bit. Or if you can't do that, you need to read. You need to read books, because books are going to be able to transport you away and tell you stories and get you to experience and feel things that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to feel. So if you
Mhm.
if you, let's say you want to write a war story, you're going to read All Quiet on the Western Front. You're going to read the book that they made an American Sniper about it off of, or whatever. You're gonna read books like that, and those books are going to be able to give you sort of what you need to experience that stuff. So and I just don't think that writers, quote unquote, today
Mhm.
are reading, because they're obviously not living, and they just the incompetence of storytelling and what a character should be and dialogue is just completely lost. But if they read, you know, they would be better at it, and they're not. Or if they are, and whatever they are reading, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's because it's not stories.
I think they're watching too many. This thing of like watching too many movies. I think that's the thing. It's like they're thinking everything plays out in life like levels in a video game. It has to play out exactly like this. But there's just not the way that things happen. There's a lot of intricacies that go in with a lot of this stuff when it comes to like how you're doing a certain concept, what you're doing with the concept, how you're going to present this concept to people. And you're always going to have people that don't like it, even if you presented it in the most accurate way. There's people that are going to. There's always be that jackass and say, "Well, I didn't live life like that." Like, no shit, Sherlock. I'm pretty sure you maybe didn't, but
Right.
I I was gonna ask you what was the first horror movie you watched then? Because remember you said you grew up in a more of a normal-ish family where nothing bad really happened. So how did
Right.
you just suddenly went, you know what? I'm gonna start watching Michael Myers just shank people for hours.
Well, so I had always been kind of like a spooky kid. Like, I
Mhm,
always enjoyed seeing like darker, more macabre imagery or art. Like if I would see
mhm,
the first time I saw the Scream from Van Gogh, right? I just locked onto that painting because of just the imagery, the colors, the face, everything that I saw just captured me. I remember because I might be a little bit older than you. I'm not sure, but if you remember MS Paint and Windows 95, when
good lord.
on those
That's old.
computers,
Yeah.
I would be painting. I would paint like ghosts and graveyard scenes
Mhm,
in MS Paint with my little mouse, and I would have like that's what I would just I had no reason for that. My family went to church every Sunday. You know, we grew up in a suburban neighborhood. I rode my bikes and played with my friends, but I was always kind of into that. And but I never watched a horror movie until I was 16. My best friend Jason at the time, who was really into horror movies, he saw his first when he was 8, and it was Halloween with his dad. um he was like, all right, he's like, look, you're into this stuff, we play Magic together, you're into like, you're into like black decks and stuff like that. We got to start watching some horror movies. I want you to watch The Ring. And so I was like, all right. So we started watching The Ring. And have you seen it? Have you seen The Ring?
No, I don't think I've seen that. I think
but the girl crawling out of the TV.
That scene I remember. I haven't seen the entire movie though. I've only seen that clip actually, but I know what you're talking about.
Dude, watch the whole movie. It's a fantastic film. But in the beginning, so the opening scene are these two girls talking about this tape, right? And it's a great buildup. And then it finally happens. And then there's a scene where they find one of the girls dead in their closet and her jaw is just like unhinged. And that shot scared the shit out of me so much. It happens 10 minutes into the movie. I had to shut the movie off. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't watch it anymore. But after that, I wanted to continue. Like there was something about it that made me like, I want to finish this movie. I want to watch it. And so I finished it. I got through it. And then I was just so impressed and so intrigued with all of the special effects that every movie that I had watched after that, I am watching the effects. I'm watching, like trying to see how they do things. I would buy movies and I would watch the special features on the DVDs, you know, with the behind the scenes, how they made this creature, or how the puppeteer, like in Alien, how they were puppeteering the alien, you know, stuff like that. And I just ate that shit up. And if I was a little more artistically inclined, I probably would have gone into like special effects makeup and stuff like that for film. But I just didn't. I wanted to be a rock star back in the day, which was another like black sheep thing for me to do. I was in a few metal bands growing up, but anyway, but that's what it was. So it's The Ring. That was my first movie, my first horror movie.
Mine, God forbid, when was the first Child's Play movie? I grew up watching like Dragon Ball Z and a lot of animes and all that stuff. And my mom's like, we're gonna go to this friend's house. We're gonna watch a movie. I'm thinking we're gonna watch some Disney animated movie or some shit. Nope, puts on Child's Play.
Nice.
And that has scarred me. It gave me legit. I never told it. It actually gave me night terror for years watching it for some reason. And I remember I would say rediscovered horror movies, but I remember Sci-Fi Channel, they used to have these horror franchise loops like every Saturday. Remember back in the day, they used to have like Halloween one week and they had Saw one week.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my grandma's house and they had a Halloween marathon of the original. And it would be the original up until the Rob Zombie's Halloween movie. And I was like, fucking hell. Like I put it on and I just couldn't turn it off for some reason. I couldn't change the channel. I just didn't want to. And after that, the next week I watched like Saw the first time and everything. And then in my brain, I went, wait a minute, none of this is real. Why would I be freaked out or scared of something that's not real? And ever since then, my brain did a 180 on horror. I do the same thing that you do. Essentially, I'm looking at, for horror movies, what really elevates a horror movie for me is the intensity, location, and what is the overall atmosphere. So like the Descent would be like one of my favorite horror movies because I love the setting of that they're in. Like you're in a cave, you can't really get to anyone. There's no cops. They're going to come to you. Just atmosphere like that would really get to me. You know, like, okay, this is really intriguing here. What can you do about this? And you create dynamics and conflicts in that. So for horror movies, I feel like some of the best ones are like locational based. Like The Thing obviously is one of the best.
Oh my God, that thing is so good. Yeah.
Right. To be fair, I kind of unfairly judge a lot of horror movies based off that one with the special effects being so practical and they look really good. But keep in mind, the location in that movie is very pivotal. They're in this isolated location. It's freezing. It's cold. You don't know who to trust. Oh, I love stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Or I think The Strangers, the very first one, did that concept for me, but then they kind of made more of them for some reason.
Yeah, The Strangers are not very good films. You might like Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I've heard of that. I heard
You might classic. Like that. Yep. And Hush by Mike Flanagan.
Oh, what was the one where that girl was getting that deaf girl was getting terrorized?
That's Hush.
Hell. That is Hush. I'm pretty sure I've seen parts of that. What did you ever think about the collection? The collector movies. I know those have their fan bases. I think he was trying to be too much Saw. I think that's the problem with them.
I think The Collector are some of the most early 2000s movies like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Like just like every sort of trope of early 2000s movies, especially horror films, is The Collector. I thought the first one was very good. I thought the second one was okay. I don't think I saw the third one, or maybe they haven't made a third one yet.
No,
But
they were going to, and then something happened behind the scenes that's halted production. Like, yeah, the first one, when I look back on it, I go, you know what?
it's not
Good. That's
bad.
a It's not bad.
It's
I
pretty
think it's
good.
actually an
Yeah,
underrated gem when you look at the atmosphere and everything that's about the movie. It's the
it's pretty
second
brutal.
one. It's the second one. This is the problem with horror movies. Once you have like a mystique about the first one, it's unless you take your movie, because actually, like you said before, logically it makes sense you go in the other direction because the mystique's over. But then when you go to the second one, you're like, there's something that's missing here. It's because they
Yeah,
went almost in a whole new genre for the movie, for the sequel, because you don't want to have it being essentially a copy and paste of the original, you know?
right.
It's like,
You got
it's
to do
just the,
something different.
yeah, and I feel like with movies like those, what else would you need a third one for? I think that's the problem with horror movies or just slashers and thrillers is trying to do more than one. It's like maybe three max, like a trilogy, right? But some of these movies, why do they need like anything more than one? Like, why did the first Strangers movie need a sequel or these other new three ones that came out the last couple of years? Why? What other story is there to tell? You don't need to tell another
Uh,
story. It's just, what are you doing? You know?
because horror fans are obsessive with their genre and will go see anything. It's what I love and hate about my people is that we are just we will, and we are very forgiving when it comes to movies. I mean, like overall, I'm not as forgiving, but the horror audience in general are very forgiving of the quality of films, and they will like a movie just because it's a horror movie, you
Mhm.
know. And we show up and show out for all of our stuff. I mean, like the reason why the Saw franchise has 10, going to be 11 movies in it is because you
Fuck.
just slap the Saw label on something and audiences will go see it.
Yeah.
It,
And I do
you,
think there's the
that's just
value
what
in
it
being
is.
entertaining. Like, I do feel like
There's 7
when it,
screams now, and you're going to see the 7th one, you said.
hey,
So, like,
yeah, Lord, I love
you're part
me.
of that.
Whenever I hear what's your favorite scary movie, oh, woof, sign me up, man.
Yeah.
I'm in there, even for the bad ones. And I feel like that's where horror can be. It's at its finest. Like, you know, for some reason, those Saw movies, I would say, just talk about good ones. Anything past like two is, I would say, whew, good. I mean, you might believe in the Tooth Fairy if you think that those are good after like the second one. But I do feel like
Yeah.
the Saw movies excelled at that spectacle thing you talked about earlier. They always because I told people Spiral was at least trying to have somewhat of a story, but what was the criticism for Spiral? Oh, it didn't have good traps. So you only just value story. For horror movie fans, like you said before, for some reason, if a movie is trying to have like a decent story, you know, it's like, what is going on here? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
be done in like another 7 minutes. That's it, because I have to have about another 10 for the bus I got to take for dinner myself. All
Okay. All right. Cool. Sorry. I didn't want to interrupt the flow. That's why I sent it to you in
right,
the private chat. But,
all right, good,
yeah.
very good.
So
So,
yeah. Cool.
I'll ask you this. Let's see, horror movies. What would be like your favorite horror movies of all time if you had to choose like 10 of them?
Oh, geez. 10. Ooh, I mean, it's a rotating list sometimes, but Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I think, is the one that I keep going back to. It's my favorite just in terms of creativity, quality, and I love all of the aspects of that movie. I think it's a great story. I think it's one of the best ways to do even though it's a third in the series. I think it's one of the best ways to do a sequel when it comes to a movie, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, and how you treat Freddy Krueger and how you treat the dream world and what those rules are, and like everything makes sense. Like and everybody does a really good job. I think the performances are all very good. Like I said, I think it has some of the most creative kills that I've seen in a movie. But so Nightmare 3, God, I'm gonna blank. The Thing, The Exorcist, Autopsy of Jane Doe is one of my favorites. I know I just recommended it to you. Gerald's Game. Um, Let me see. I'm blanking now. Alien 2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Alien
such a
2.
banger.
Yeah, it's awesome. What else? I'm trying to think of movies that like scared me. One that really surprised me that I like is The Taking of Deborah Logan. I don't like a lot of exorcism movies and stuff like that because I feel like the majority of exorcism movies just try to be The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And so it's like, don't do that. Taking of Deborah Logan does not do that.
So how do you feel about The Conjuring then? Because isn't that kind of the same premise and concept too?
No, I think that would be a little different. I think the first Conjuring movie is the only good Conjuring movie. I do not like any of the others. The Conjuring 2 is probably palatable, but I don't think anything in that franchise is better than the first one. Dead Silence is actually a favorite of mine. That movie gets dragged sometimes, but I thought it was done by James Wan, the same guy who did Saw, which Saw 1 is is also one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
What else?
I didn't like when he did Malignant. I thought that was so bad.
No, God, Malignant was terrible.
Oh,
I always fight. So I'm only half of the Death Rattle podcast. My other Kanan Becker, who is his channel is Ghost Pirate Entertainment, and he's huge. He's one of the fastest growing horror channels out on YouTube. He's the other half of the Death Rattle podcast, and him and I go at it about Malignant all the time because he thinks it's great. He thinks that I just don't understand the movie, and I'm like, shut up. I know exactly what I know. I understand the movie. It's terrible.
Oh God!
But
yeah. I lose it in that movie. Do you know the part where she's getting questioned, and then for some reason they think she's Gabriel when she's getting questioned, even though it comes in that scene that Gabriel was spotted. There was a cop fighting Gabriel when they had her there. I'm like, wait a minute, how? That's easy. I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. She is here in the police department getting interrogated, but yet her alter ego counterpart is fighting another cop. Wait a minute. I thought they were this pulled. I was like, this movie's bad. James Wan, what are you doing? Like, how far have you fallen?
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
It's not good. And that's the problem with James Wan for me. It's like because I also think that the Purge movies are not good. I think the first Purge is good. I saw 2 and 3 and I'm just like, these are just bad now. Like these are trailer movies. That's all these are. Like they just made these movies so that they could make a trailer and that's it. And so those are awful, but like every time it's like James Wan, I'm just like, oh God, this name means nothing now. You know what I mean? Like unless it's Saw 1. But then
slap his name on that pool movie or whatever that came out a while ago.
Oh,
it
came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like The Shallow.
Yeah,
The Shallow. Good Lord.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I forget, but it's a Blumhouse movie that Night Swim. Yeah, it's Blum. That was Blumhouse, right?
Yeah.
One of those January movies. I'm trying to think of my other favorites. Like I always blank when I do this.
Oh, The Shining. A lot of people love The Shining.
I like. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I'm actually not a Stanley Kubrick fan, and I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that. I always do, but I'm like the two directors that I always get shit for are that I am not a Stanley Kubrick or a Wes Anderson fan. And people are like, how can you not be a Wes Anderson fan? Like, and I'm like, I can tell you right now, 1, I hate pastel colors. 2, I don't think his stories are awesome. So that's why I'm not a Wes Anderson fan. And then when it comes to Stanley Kubrick, I thought A Clockwork Orange was awful. I did not like that movie at all. And maybe I needed to give it a second chance. But after I watched it the first time, I was like, I don't understand why people like this film. And again, maybe I just didn't understand it or whatever. But anyway, but that's why it's like Stanley Kubrick, like he did do, what did he do that I did like? 2001, was that Stanley Kubrick? I'm drawing a blank. But there is a Stanley Kubrick movie that I do like, but just him as a director, just I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan. I always get shit for that. But I mean, The Shining is good. It's good.
Yeah.
It is good.
The last few things I'll ask you before we head out is the first thing, which is, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
I have several things. So like I said earlier, the film festival that my partner and I are putting on is coming out March 13th and 14th. If you're in the Jacksonville area, or if you want to come to Jacksonville, we have 13 hours of independent horror that we're going to be showing. Tickets are on sale. You can go to jackshorrorfilmfest.com and you can buy tickets. They're very cheap, and come out for 2 days of awesome independent horror. So that's the first thing. The second thing is my movie, The Hellgate, is out. And you can get it on Amazon right now. It's on Amazon Prime. You can rent or buy it. It's not streaming for free yet, but it's like $3 to rent. I think $10 to buy. So affordable. So that's out. And then you can watch me on the Death Rattle podcast Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. I think that's 4 p.m. West Coast. Right here on YouTube, and then my own YouTube channel, which is Horror Sucks. So that's it. That's what I got going on.
And horror, some people say it's making a comeback these days. I always people understand it is a case-by-case basis. It's like people will see one good movie and go, everything's better. It's like, that's just not how you measure anything in life. If I could measure things off one thing in my life, I'd be a freaking billionaire. Also, last thing is, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular, and anything else you do want to say before we head out?
Well, since I'm on here representing the Death Rattle podcast, I'll just shout out Kanan, Ghost Pirate Entertainment. Great guy. I started the Death Rattle podcast. It was a different name 2 years ago, and I had him on as a guest once, and he was just such a great guest. And we had such good chemistry together that we were like, hey, let's do this. Let's make this a thing. And so we started the Death Rattle podcast, and now it's just him and I. And so I just want to shout him out. He's doing a great job, and he does awesome like top 10 lists. So if you go to his channel, it's just like top 10 horror movies on Netflix, top 10 on YouTube, top 10 unheard of horror movie, stuff like that. He's got great lists. He's super nice, super entertaining. So I would shout him out.
I would love to talk to him on the show if you could ever put us in contact. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
He's a great guy to talk to. However, I will warn you, he is a talker. So you are going to have to you're going to have to, he's like a freight train. So if you ever want to get a word in sometimes, you're going to have to just start talking and don't stop until he does. That's that's just one of the things that I'll tell you. And I love him. I love him for it. But he's got great takes. He's a lot more positive than I am when it comes to stuff like that. So if you ask him about movies, he'll probably think it's all great. But anyway, he'd be a great guest to have.
Hell yeah. It was great to talk to you, man, for the first time. Just want to say, everyone, thank you guys for coming by and checking out this episode of the MSK Show, and we will see